To name some of them, as starting from Motwani Manufacturing Cooperative Private Limited as design engineer, continued with Small Industries Development Organization, Ministry of India, Government of India, and also sir has worked in MS Ramaiah School of Advanced Studies as program manager. Then currently sir is working as freelancing as professional advisor. Sir, we welcome you all for today's session. Now I'm handing over the session to you, sir. Over to you.
Okay, thank you. Let me share. Okay. Can you all see the slide, Innovation by Design?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So for next 1 hour or so, I'll try to clarify what is innovation. You can expect actually why innovation is so crucial to us in the current juncture of the economic development, and then what is really innovation. It's a very term which is used very loosely or very different interpretations by different organizations and different people. So I would like to clarify what actually qualifies for innovation, which I think is very essential for the future budding engineers to take care of it. And then innovation probably can be done only by design. That will be the topic. I'm audible, I hope so.
Yeah. Yes, sir, you're clear.
Yeah, okay. So actually everybody should be talking, or everybody is talking about innovation. Can anybody say why? Are they interact? Can they speak? No, interact or? Okay, so
speaking would be difficult, but I'll allow them to chat. So if you can ask a question, they can enter in chat.
All right. Okay. So that's a laborious process. I would not like to answer to that now at the moment. Okay. I'll speaking for monotonous, and then if probably we'll have a time at the end for.
Yes, a question answer session is there. They will put it in the question answer tab.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So basically, the economic progress of any country depends upon the innovation quotient. So everything is measured today, and every parameter is measured internationally, and they are declared, right? And India, the people happiness is declared, which is the most happiest people on the earth, etc. So similarly, the capability to innovate is measured across the globe by independent organization like WIPO, that's a patent organization, and then the INSEAD School of Management. And it is funded by all the governments, including Government of India pays money to get the country assessed, how good are we at innovation. So it's a very, and every year the innovation index is published according entirely. And then why this measurement of innovation capability is done is basically you expect revenue, foreign investments will come. So today anybody can invest anywhere in the globe if you have money to invest, and then people would like to invest money in an innovative country where the innovation happens, and this is where that means actually innovation is creating wealth. I mean, there's a very simple interpretation. So economic progress is directly proportional to the innovation quotient of the country. Okay, so it is very proven. I will also demonstrate it that one of the measures of innovation quotient is global innovation. There may be many innovation measurements, measurements done across the globe, but this is a very popular one, and then all the nations accept this. So Global Innovation Index, so GII, it is known as, and every year it is published. Basically, it consists of about 86 parameters. Basically you can see now creative outputs. There's an input, innovation inputs. That means how much the government or education, all those people try to help in the industry interactions, etc. And then the knowledge development and creativity. Remember, innovation output, how much innovative solutions come out of the country. So actually there are about 86 parameters that is mapped, and then accordingly they declare the innovation capability of the nation. Okay, and it's a number starting from 1 to 100. So 1 is the best and 100 is the worst country. Okay, innovation capability is very poor. India was ranked actually 41 in 2008 and 9, and that is the year they started this GI index measurement, and it was dropped down to 81 in 2015. It's very significant. You can see how you can relate probably to the issues of the government, education policies, industrial, trade policies. All these things impact in the innovation. Okay, so from 41 to 81, in about 7 years of time. And then, now we see 80 baht, it started reversing back actually. It's recovering back. It is 52 in 2019. And it is 48 in 2020. So you can say we can take some, happiness in the sense we are within the top 50 league of the innovation countries. Okay, this is what it is. And it's now ranked 46. So the reverse trend has kept up. We still not have crossed 41, which was the earliest starting point. And so we are 46 in 2021. And maybe, it might be 44 or 40 in 2022 when it comes, the report comes, we'll see that. But it's a far away way to be within the top 10 or 20. Ideally, you should be within top 20. Top 10 may be, too much idealistic for us to expect in the near future. But I hope, at least we continue to the trends of innovation that is being done, promoted in our country. We hopefully should be there within the top 20 next 5 years. Okay. And that's what, actually you can see now, 81 to 48, 2020, and then 46 in 2021. And that is a reverse, climb that we are doing it. Okay. So basically, innovation index and GDP, there is a direct relation. What is the innovation score? And the under GDP, this thing, that is GDP per person or purchasing power parity. So if we can see, India is somewhere here. That is so the GDP also is very poor. I mean, you can see that. And the top 10 countries who are here. So, innovation index and score. Okay. And the higher. So it's a innovation index is different and innovation score is different. Remember, here the score that you have got. So higher the score, you will be on the rank will be lower. Okay. So you get 99% marks. So you are the number one rank. This is the indication. So here we are not talking about index. We are talking about the score out of 100. So you can see that the top 10 countries, Switzerland, Sweden, Britain, Singapore, Hong Kong, USA, and other. So these countries actually almost remain in the top 10 consistently for so many years. One or two may go out of the top 10. Otherwise, they have been consistently. So that's why you can see that they are called as developed country. Okay, GDP is very high. So this is the index. Today, innovation is indexed. I mean, is depending upon the knowledge you create and exploitation of knowledge. That's again a challenge for us because we never have, the Indian knowledge, protection was not there, right? All our Vedas, all the knowledge is freely available to the world. We never protected our own knowledge like the Western world. So knowledge is, repository. It's a commercial term. You can exploit the knowledge, patent your knowledge, and make money. And this is the innovation. Convert knowledge into wealth is another interpretation of innovation. So we are moving from agrarian economy that is, based on the natural resources, agriculture, and manufacturing economy. It was dominant in the last, 20 years back. Today, the dominant economy is service economy. That's why, you can see the IT services booming and they contributed a lot to the GDP of our country and moving towards knowledge economy. That means, the resources, oil, etc., are not going to be your weapon for innovation. Your knowledge that you create and exploit, convert the knowledge into wealth is going to be the future, measurements. Right? So basically, if we see that we are, closed economy where, there is a, restrictions, global economy was very curtailed, and an open economy that is, in the 1980s when the WTO, etc., became very prominent. You can now see the moving away from agrarian economy to manufacturing economy to service economy to knowledge economy. Okay, so this is again another important aspect for you people to remember, because what does innovation mean? A term with different interpretations. So I would like to really clarify what constitutes innovation, because innovation, improvement, variety, these are the terms which are considered synonym, but they are not actually synonym. All right. So basically, what are the critical characteristics of innovation? Okay. So it actually has to be a new idea fundamentally. So we'll clarify all of that. That means, you are actually providing a function using a new knowledge, okay, new way of doing things. And then it has to be successfully implemented. Lots of people, especially the students, all the people, youngsters also come up with a lot of ideas, but then implementation takes very difficult, it's very difficult. So creating the idea and then putting the idea into practice are two different set of skills, which are not available in the same person possibly. And value added. Whatever you do and launch an innovative product or a system or a service must have some meaning to the intended customers. You must appreciate and pay money because he benefits from that. And that is known as value creation. So these are the three minimum characteristics that must be existing to have successful innovation. So it's a new, an entire service or a product is new. It is value creation. That means people are willing to pay money for it. They are going to enjoy it, and it will have an impact to the society of the and also the organization. So these are the three criteria. Innovation is the implementation of new ideas that add value. Okay. So very simple sentence. That is newness, and then successful implementation, action, and then value creation. Okay. So remember, these are the three criteria. You must ask yourself, am I really innovating, or I'm creating a variety, or I'm doing a incremental improvement? Okay. Don't confuse improvement as innovation. If any of the three factors are missing, then it is not innovation. Okay. These are understanding across the globe now. I'm just giving you. So what is the meaning of new factor? Okay. We are creating a new knowledge to the world? No. You can't do things the way they have always been done and claim to be innovative. You just can't repeat the same thing. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is insane. How can you get different results if you keep the same thing done? Okay. So we need to do different things in order to innovate. Okay. This is the lesson. To innovate, you have to generate and use ideas that are new and different from what has been tried before in this context. So remember that newness is context dependent. Okay. So always, that means the idea or the knowledge may be used in some other domain or some other context, and I bring that from that knowledge into another context, then it becomes newness. So it's a very important meaning. New does not mean no one has ever done it before. We are not inventing anything. So if it has not been done in this context before, then it qualifies as new. So this is a very important clarity that we must have. That means what? In order to innovate, your job first task is to find out what is the function required to be delivered. Then scan the world, how this function has been delivered by different domain, sectors. Okay. So that is where, bring that knowledge. And here, this is the new skill that you must have. Actually, there's a systematic way of doing it, which anyway I will not cover. So it's known as systematic innovation, or TRIZ, trees. Okay. So the idea of newness is context dependent. I'll give you some demonstration. Okay, like for example, gentlemen, we have the airbag. Okay, so the technology is very well known. Now, if I can use this technology of airbag and create any other products which is useful to the society, then it becomes innovation. Okay, so it's a non-knowledge. Everything you can find from this. These have been used, very efficiently in all the cars in order to protect them, right? So the function here is to protect. Use the airbag technology. Now, where do I else need protection? If you ask that question, maybe we have elderly people who are likely to fall down, and if they fall down, they will they will have fracture. They need hospitalization. Maybe can we create a dress which exploits this technology? See that the elders do not fall, or even the children, or specifically there are differently abled children who are who want to attempt walking, etc. They may not be able to do it. Then can we protect them? So the value addition cost, etc. don't consider at this stage. In idea stage, you must never do that. So this is how we look for knowledge and new opportunity. All right. Now, if you can anybody guess, this is actually is known as a invisible helmet. This is a helmet here. Okay, especially designed for women because they have different states of hairstyles, etc. So the current physical, the FRP dome, that's not useful for them. And then this is actually used, is exploited. It's not a theoretical concept. Is sold. And when you fall down, actually it uses the same technology of the airbag, and it actually protects your head. And this is how this is a very nice example of bringing knowledge from another domain, from an automobile industry into a two-wheeler industry. And this, though it may be in an automobile, but you can also make dresses which will protect you when you are when you risky. Like for example, if you're jumping, like military people, for example, they might have to do this kind of things, and then if they want to protect, probably we can incorporate these bags as in the part of the dress, and this is how the innovation happens. Now industry, I hope I do not know who are the participants, but if you have probably third year engineering mechanical, you will see that induction, heating was used for, so many centuries to heat treat the coil, mechanical parts like gears, profiles, etc. Okay. Now you see, this knowledge was known to us for about a century. Now nobody thought about that, bringing this knowledge or induction heating to the kitchen, and this is where the induction heating is a very good example of demonstrating how the knowledge from another world can be brought into it, and this is the really crux of the innovation attempt. So replaces the gas stove. Okay, so I hope you have clarified. I clarified your way of looking for newness in the innovation. All right. So like lotus leaf remain clean. So how does the lotus leaf remain clean? I am not going to elaborate on this answer to this question because you have to do yourself. And you will see now this technology, the knowledge that has been developed by MIT, especially on the latest interpretation of how the lotus leaf remain. Actually, if I'm just saying that knowledge is available, can we make the shirts, can the clothes remain clean? Is a question that I can actually ask. Based on my understanding of how does if the lotus leaf remains clean, why can't our shirts remain clean? Or can they clean themselves? Is a question that I actually automatically arises. So, you have this, clothes remain clean actually. Who needs in the laundry? The shirt you can wear for 100 days without washing or ironing. Wool and prints claim that the shirt can be worn for 100 days without being washed or ironed. They are actually available. You can use that. Especially, it was originally developed for military people. Like, otherwise you can see the number of logistics, the laundry people and, the army soldiers are on the battlefield, right? Who will replace their, they will be smelling, the shirt will smell badly. It was originally developed for military people. They need not, wear for 6 months. They can actually wear the same shirt and, the things. It will not have any the smell or, the germs will not react. So there are about 3 technologies were involved in that. So you can find out that. But all those technologies were existing somewhere else and then brought into this, making clothes. And that's innovation. Innovation is taking 2 things that already exist and putting them together in a new way. This is a very, very interesting approach of innovation that, combine, connect unconnectables. Okay. So we'll not elaborate, but, you can this thing. So the another one is a successful implementation. Having an idea is most beautiful, but then it remains an idea if it is not taken forward. You have to prove the idea, then trial it, make it happen, and this is what the design process comes into picture. Okay, so this and again so different set of skills are required for converting the idea into a successful product. Okay, an idea has to be executed well for it to be innovative. Simply having the idea does not make an innovation. Innovation is in the doing, not just in the thinking or conceptualization. Okay. So you have innovated when you successfully executed a solution and it is actually in use and having the desired impact. So we have a lot of the technology part of it and then the business part of it. So it has to come together. So the creation part, idea, which is meaningful to the intended customer segment or the society. That's where the society, the customers come into picture. Then we have the technology part has to come into picture. How do we really make this idea happen? And then how do we make it happen business-wise? So the 3 different domain knowledges combined as to combine together to practically launch an innovation, and that is what is helped by design thinking as a process. Okay. So the third one is the value addition, value creation factor. Does it make any sense to the customer for whom I am manufacturing it? A new idea is only innovative if it has a clear purpose to solve a problem of the customer. Remember that. It has to address certain issues which the current customer is facing of the customer. So identifying this is, what does it solve of the intending customer? Meet our unmet need. There was a need which was not recognized. The current system do not solve this need, so we can have that need met. And then satisfy a want. Want and need, again, I hope somebody would have talked to you about it. Need and want are very, slightly different commodities. So how do we really, satisfy this? Okay. That means, and what is the problem? Again, another understanding. A problem is knowing where you want to be and you currently are. Where you want to be, how do you do that? We can actually look for possibilities. The new knowledges enable us to think of yeah, this can be improved like this because we have this technology available like that, So most of the things have been digitized, am I right, today? And so, digitization is not innovation. I'm not going to cover, elaborate on that. So remember, they're just, putting, the digital means is not an innovation. But we can say we can improve, somebody thought of that, we can create the shirts, garments which need not be washed at all. So that is a future possibility. Okay. So the gap between the two is the innovation. The gap between the two is the problem. Okay. So the current state, future possible state, future possible states can be envisaged because we have new knowledges created every year. There's a lot of knowledge creation happens. And if you are keeping track of the knowledges developed across the globe, for which you have to keep referring to the patents base, which are all free, available very freely. And then that is a gap between the thing, and that is what known as a problem. Again, another interesting understanding of problem. Okay, so there has to be a clear gap. What is created aims to fill. So you have to identify the gap in the market where the customer's life. Okay, and then innovation will be successful. To innovate and thus differentiate, they have to find a gap that has not been filled by the current system. Okay. So the problem to be solved has to be addressed, very clearly identified. Otherwise, it is a variety for variety's sake. Remember that. If you are doing something new, just replacing something existing, but which was not recognized, and then then it's only a variety and it's not innovation. Okay, so I'm just showing you, this was the razor which was used about 100 years back, and my father used to use this. And then we had this double-edged blade, which called razor. Well, all gents probably use that. And then today we have this razor, multiple blades, right? 5 blades, and then there is a rotating here, swiveling here, and so on and so on. So these are the classic examples of innovation. Why, from here to here it became? Because, it is very difficult, you have to keep sharpening. Okay, I mean, if you see what is the gap? Oh, the blade loses its sharpness. And so they brought, the another thing, instead of, you have now, 2 blades separately. So one day you do this, other day you do the other blade, and that's what shop thought as a better value addition. Now here this again you have to unscrew this, clean that. There's a messy affair, and this is supposed to be the simplest affair, right? And then number of blades increase, so you have a clean shave. And this is how the innovation, the gap is identified or the opportunity is identified, and new solutions are created. Now, what is the future? I'm just asking you. I mean, how we can intentionally innovate. I know I know that I can predict the technologies. Actually, again, there's this technological evolution trends can be predicted. So that actually suggests me that future will be probably laser will be the the thing of the future. Now I have to ask a question: can we use laser to do this function? Can this be mechanical device be replaced by a laser? Possibly. And then this is how we actually will it be valued by the user? Another question always: will it be valued by the user? So I hope ladies are already familiar with the laser hair removers, etc., right? So actually, it gives me a lot of knowledge. So that means I can probably create a laser, laser. Am I right? So basically, if you see, I mean, this is the one of the laser futuristic razors, which actually uses the laser as a trimming device and not mechanical device. In the earlier one, it is a mechanical device, right? The blade is like a scissor, and so this is what. Actually, this is how it is demonstrated. You can probably see the video, this thing. So maybe we'll have future laser shavers, and in the future instead of mechanical, which probably does not require a cream or anything. So it does not require probably water, and this is how this thing. So now let me see. I'll demonstrate how actually it's very difficult to identify opportunities for innovation because we keep ignoring a lot of things. We take for granted. Now, can this, like if if you have seen, looked at any house building activity, you will see that, when they start building their bricks. So, the lot of cement, which is used in between the brick layers is lost or, it's actually deteriorates. So, they will put probably the gunny bag or paper. And then at the end of the day, start morning, in the morning they start. So there will be accumulation of this cement. And at the end of the day, they will put on one of the layers and build the house. Now, there are 2 things happen. One is really base. Cement is a curing this thing, right? Moment it has mixed with water, it starts curing, right? The thermal reaction takes place. Until evening, it would have already cooled. It would have lost all the binding properties. And that is used as a part of the building material. And actually, you are sacrificing the quality. Without your knowledge, you're building a house which is of not quality. Wherever this, this cement is used, the quality of adhesion is poor. Now, can this be solved? Or should we allow this amount of cement to be thrown, or quality to be sacrificed? Is an opportunity. Can we do something? This is how actually you start looking at the possibilities of innovation. Okay, can this be an opportunity for value creation? So basically, if we see these are all actually already available. I'm just showing you all existing innovations which are commercially successful. So they may, they are depending upon the size of the thing. There is a plastic, box like this, and the one of the thing is that no cement is wasting. The other is the quality of construction is ensured, because here the thickness of this cement layer is always fixed by the amount of this thickness. In the earlier one, in the manual car, you do not know whether there may be excess, there may be less. The thickness of the cement layer may be varying from at where they say, because it's a purely judgmental by the base 3. All right. So there are two things happen. There is no cement wasted and quality is assured. So the beautiful innovation, which is very cost effective solution, which is available for all different size of constructions and different size of bricks. This is how it is there. They are actually available even in India now. Okay. So this is what it is. So value is actually determined by who? Value is a concept which is not fixed by the producer. It is by the customer. Factors that influence a customer's decisions to either adopt an innovation or reject are relative advantage. So moment to create a new thing, the customer will say, what do I get out of it? Okay, that's the relative advantage. Then there is something called compatibility. So again, there are this thing and the risks involved. So these are the 3 criteria which you have to take care of before you innovate and launch a product. Okay. The advantages, it means an innovation has an advantage when it appears to be better than the previous generation and has a high rate of adoption. So if you can convince the customer that it is much better than the previous one, he's willing to pay you more money also. And that is what the meaning of value. All right. So this is what, why we should pay, right? Why, somebody should actually subscribe to Baiju. The parents are so anxious about the successful education of the children. And, like a lot of people are, so invest on. Earlier it was physical tuition. Now they invest on Baiju platforms or so many other platforms, right? So they think that, the child will learn better. I mean, that's all they think, they believe. And there is you promote such a way that you convince a parent to invest money, and that is the meaning of advantage converting. Okay, so it's how it is done. Compatibility is that innovation has a great chance of getting adopted if it is compatible with the people's experiences and values. Gentlemen, as an engineering student, you would have never understand what is the meaning of people's experiences and values, which is not a part of Indian education, unfortunately. And so this is where the design education comes in picture. What is the quality of life? Ultimately, whatever we do affects the quality of life of the people on this earth and the earth itself. So that is where nowhere in our engineering education we talk about environment engineering, etc. But no engineering education talks about people. I mean, I'm just throwing up because the faculty who are there probably may react afterwards. I mean, the definition of engineering that is quoted is all use of mathematical and scientific knowledge to create an equipment or a product. There's no question of product also. Machine. Do we create only machines? Is a question that I want to ask. Right? Where is the question of value, human value? Where does the human being come in the definition of engineering at all? Okay. So risk is again another thing. Like risk is not only that we are not investing money. So will I be able to use it at all? Do I have the knowledge? Like for example, my sister refused to have a smartphone. Why? She was feeling I will become a fool. Because she is so conversant with the button the same. She had that hey, you don't know how to operate a smartphone. She didn't want to have that. So that is the risks are more emotional and also physical and financial. Risk pursued is uncertainty a consumer has when buying items, mostly those that are particularly expensive and inventive. So functional, social, physical, etc., etc. Again, these are all not taught in engineering colleges. So these are all, Greek and Latin for you people, but they are the differentiators today. And if you don't consider this, innovation will be miserable. Okay. So the younger generation is more willing to take risks in innovation, and we can therefore expect more willingness in taking on risks with innovative technologies. Okay. What is not innovation? Just to give you that, 3 elements. If they are not, one of them is missing, what is it then? So, new, it is a new idea. It actually has a value, but not successfully implemented. Then it remains only as a creative idea. Okay. Because no action, it remains only creative idea. And, it is new and added, but there's no value creation at all. And which is what most of the people confuse as innovation. And that is only variety or a novelty. Remember that. Okay. So basically, I'm just showing you some example of, so many types of watches, wall clocks. They are not innovations, they are just varieties. Okay. So it is, there is nothing newness, is an action and value added. They said value added, maybe for the customer or the company, it is known as improvement. So there are 3 categories. So please, keep track of whether you are improvement or you are doing a variety or you are doing an innovation. Innovation is risky, but innovation is long-term benefit. You can make money because the others will take time to catch. If you are doing only a variety, competition world will not be able to make you succeed because your competitor will launch another variety which will be superior than your product. So improvements, your competitors, again, you don't get a long-term benefit out of doing improvements. Okay. Like Wegener, I show you first. I mean, just to want to keep. I hope this has to be understood very clearly by the budding engineers. This is probably the latest Wegener. There's nothing new in this. It's just a variety. I mean, every year, 6 months or 1 year, they keep launching variety of shifts. Okay, don't confuse this as innovation at all. They are just varieties. Okay. So minor tweaks, improvement and innovation. Minor tweaks and improvements of an existing product or a process is not the same thing as innovating. So, I mean, again, be clear about it. Innovation means doing things in a new and different way and doing different things. Okay. Not all improvements are innovations, but all innovations ideally should lead to improvement in the output. It should be better than the existing system. Otherwise, you will not have a value perception will not be there. So innovation and technology, embedding the technology is not innovation. So again, remember here, what is the technology? Embedding the concept in physical form. I mean, there's a very general, clear understanding I think all of you must have. Embedding the concept in physical form is called as technology. So the use of new technology does not necessarily mean innovation has happened. Okay. Digital technology can be layered over an old and existing process. That is digitization and not innovation. The newness is not necessarily in the technology deployed. It is more in the essence of the idea implemented. Okay. So it has to be, doing functionally different. Okay. This is the sense of it. Not all innovation involves technology either as an enabler or as a result. So where do we do? World's cheapest and most fuel efficient car. So now what do we call this? Is it an innovation, variety, or a improvement or novelty? Okay, there's a question, and this is what the whole thing is failed because of this. Where do we fit it? It could not fit into any category. Okay. So is it a novelty or a variety or an improvement? That's a confusion the whole country had, and so it did not spend money on that. Okay. So it is just a variety. I mean, I had a choice. It was just competing with so many other models, though it was the cheapest and the most fuel efficient car. But when I wanted to invest, it did not come to my expectations, and that's why I failed miserably. Customers did not see value in it. I hope we can't have a better example of understanding value than this nano car. Excellent engineering, but excellent engineering is not excellent design. Again, another I want to give you the hard truth. It's new, it's excellent engineering, but no value as perceived by the customer. Okay. So remember, innovation is, understanding the customer is the most difficult part of the whole process. Excellent engineering is not excellent design. Okay. The Tata Nano failed because nobody aspired to own a deep, cheap car. Remember, it's a psychological, emotional meaning of the society. Who would like to have a cheap car and show off? Okay. Even in developing markets, buyers are looking for value, and that does not mean the lowest price. Again, I want to, all the, people must remember, because when we go to the industry, they say, oh, how to reduce the cost? They are actually creating their own grave by, offering a lower price products. Okay. So what is value? Value is achieved when you make a meaning to the user. That is a very simple word, meaning. How do you really make meaning? Very tough. How do you really make meaning to the buyer? Okay, that's what, in the design process, we have an exclusive phase called empathy, exploring and empathizing with the customer. Okay. The value of a thing is based on the price it will bring. If it is more meaningful, I am going to give you more money. And that's what, they're not looking for, everybody is not looking for lowest price products. Everybody is looking for value. Okay. Value to buyer is equal to the offering's utility minus its price. What does it do for me minus what is the cost? That's a value perception. And the value to the company is equal to offering's price minus its cost. How can I offer a product with the least expenses as far as the internal decisions are concerned? Everything is worth what its purchaser will pay for it. Remember, this is a statement made before the crisis, 4385. I mean, you can imagine, in the earliest part of our society also, the value was perceived by the society. Okay. I want to have a feedback. Am I okay? The speed of the delivery?
Yes, it's fine, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So value innovation is achieved only when the whole system of utility, price, and cost is aligned. Utility and price actually is a perception of the customer. Cost is a perception of the producer, or the actual, measurable parameter controlled by the manufacturing company. So there are three elements. Utility means, function, how good it is, what does it do for me, etc. And then what price. So this is the decision of the customer and what price. Okay. This cost is directly proportional to the price that you want to declare. Okay. So these are very three elements. Two are external and one is internal. So value is perceived by the customer. When I use the word perceived, that has got a deeper meaning, gentlemen. Remember that all the management education does not teach you this, MBAs, but they all go by the measurable qualities, the parameters. Unfortunately, society cannot, today's society will not be able to tell you the truth. It is a qualitative assessment of the value perception. That's why it is known as perception. That means it's only their opinion. It's not a measurable parameter. So this is the challenge of 21st century, because we have knowledge across the globe. I can buy anywhere, sitting here. I can order, you Amazon.com, and I get the things. So value is perceived by me. So we have to use different means as a qualitative assessment, and that's where the MBAs find it difficult to understand this. Okay. So value is a customer's estimate of the product's overall capacity to satisfy his or her needs. Just to give you an example, somebody says, the seat of the Sandro car is far better than seat of X car, Y car. Now, how will you measure it? Perception. Okay. So this is what it is, which is the, like I will always say, the TV of, the X, or, the program of X company, or, X serial is better than Y serial. How? Measurable? What parameters you will do that? Statistical evaluation is not the question. Okay. What actually makes the, thing click? So this is where, we are dealing with psychology of the human being now. Okay. So this is the equation, gentlemen, you have to bother if you are innovating. Customer's perceived value is equal to what does he get out of it, by investing money in my system or a product, the benefits. So benefits are not same as features. Remember again, okay, benefits are higher than the fixed. By providing a feature, you are giving a benefit. For example, if I have a automatic car transmission, what happens? Bengaluru, bumper to bumper drive you have, right? I don't have to use this leg, the clutch, brake, clutch, brake, clutch, brake. I don't have to do that, right? That means I get physically, I will not be tired by driving. Benefit is the result of your feature. So again, this is another, intricate thing to understand. And cost and harm are the internal decisions that, you make, the effect of internal decisions. Okay. So basically, what are the meaning of cost? All input costs, harms, all undesired output, because the way we have designed. So they remember this is the way our effect of design. Okay, undesired effects of this thing. So this is what it is. Okay. So basically, benefits when I look for it actually has a larger implication of quality of life. Okay. So you have to understand what is the meaning of quality of life, and then there's another word called standard of living. Are they same? Most of our education actually, even when I was educated at that time, in the 70s, we were all talking about standard of living, improve the standard of living. Then today there's no more valid. Standard of living is a measure of wealth. It is not necessarily that wealthy people are happy people. So the quality of life actually different measures are used. So again, that is a challenge of 21st century. So benefit, the what benefit I want to give. So I take decisions to put bundle of attributes. Attribute is different than the feature. Again, I'm telling you. So attributes. So I put a bundle and decide this is the product I want to offer or the system I want to offer. When I do that, and I have to challenge of design to make it in a price which is affordable by the customer. So this is the challenge of innovation. Okay, remember this is a very interesting equation that is we want to match. Okay, so basically this can be done only by design. To design to make meaning to the customers. Okay, so this is what the interpretation of meaning to the customers. He actually sees the benefits of investing in my product and is willing to happily invest money. Okay. So transform an idea into a form the market can accept. I mean, that's again another definition of innovation. Yeah. Okay. Creating value for which customers will pay. Okay. So remember, these are the interesting definition that is innovation. So I'm just show you some examples. I think most of the, I do not know the audience here. And this was the milk, supplied in the 70s. Actually, milk was rationed in our country. Most of you, it might be a surprising thing. There was a ration, like, rice was rationed, sugar was rationed. So milk was also rationed because the quantity, produced by the country was not enough to cater to the entire population. So depending upon a number of people, adults and children, they'll say you can have so much of milk. And this was, controlled. And they were supplied in the bottles. And then, we have to pay for the bottle. We have to give the empty bottle and then take with the new bottle. Okay. Then, the mother dairy, they came out with the kiosk. Okay. So, marvelous technology, new technology. So what happened here? The milk can come to your house. You can hire somebody, pay monthly some amount, and then, the boys will deliver like newspaper. They will also deliver the milk to your house in this bottle, which is unpolluted, right? There is a seal, etc. Now, is it an innovation? From here to here, we have more innovation. Here, you take a container, then buy a token, then stand in front of this kiosk, and then the liter will be there. Then you go back to the house. Then they wasted money in our society. So it's not innovation, but technological marvel maybe. Okay, so innovation without value. Remember this. This is innovation without value. Okay. Now later on the plastic came. Forget about the environmental unfriendliness of the plastic. So the bottles were replaced, and so from here to here is again an innovation. Is that innovation? Innovation with value. Okay. Again, you could just order somebody and then it will be delivered to a place, and you can store it. Bottle may not be there to break. Now this one I hope most of you are familiar with this Good Life. Same, the quality of milk is same. Literally same, but maybe the process is different. And this is maybe 10% or 20% costlier than this. Is that innovation? I just want to ponder. Is this innovation? Gentlemen, this is actually innovation for a different sector of society, catering to the different customers. This is for those people, who have to, who are time shorted, this pouch I have to buy, at the particular time, or from a, booth I have to buy. Here, I can buy one soap. Maybe I can order on Amazon. I don't have to bother for next 1 month, right? Where there's no fridge, or, I have to traveling. So it has got a different value proposition. Though it is expensive, but it's very successful innovation. I do hope you have a clarity of innovation from these examples. Now I'll show you some classic innovation examples. I do not know, most of you might not have seen, because the horse carriages are not there in Bengaluru now. So every horse has to be put a horseshoe, and it's a very laborious process. because it protects its foot. Okay, there is a growth also like our nail growth. So it has been done. It's a very skilled game. Okay. Now imagine our army. How many thousands of horses will be there in our army, and that is a job to be done. Would you like to do that, or shall we have this? So I mean, this is a process of fixing this, and you see this somebody has done just a slip on. A most beautiful innovation actually of done for the horses. They are all real implemented solutions. I'm not showing any renderings. So actual benefits, products which are there available in the country now. Okay. So beautiful innovation. Look at that. The skill is not required. Otherwise, you have to look for those skilled people who do this. Horse nailing the horse shoes. Okay. So innovation is the only way to win. I hope I have another 10 minutes. Okay. Yeah. So you can't look at the competition and say you are going to do it better. You have to look at the competition and say you are going to do it differently. I mean, I hope most of you recognize Steve Jobs, iPhone. Okay. So embrace innovation as a part of your philosophy and as a part of your life's ambition. So the process of translating an idea into or innovation, invention into a product or a service that creates value for which customers will pay. Remember, this is the the Bible, or the this most interesting definition of which value for which customers will pay. That should be always questioned and validated before you invest money on your innovation. Okay. Innovation must start with identification of the significant problem of the customer. When I say customer, is not individual, the group of customers. So there's a customer segment we call. Okay. So innovating requires the process of innovation, identifying the problem that matters to the customer segment and moving through them systematically to deliver an elegant solution. So this is what innovation process is all about, which is identical to the design process. Okay. That is, explore by empathy. There's an approach we call as empathy to understand human being, and which we have borrowed from the psychology or the social sciences. Basically, it has come from anthropology, where people are studying the tribes and the different tribe people, and so we have borrowed that and understand why people behave the way they are behaving, why there's traditions, or what is the interpretation of meaning, etc. So that is the first phase of this thing. Remember here, the problem has not been identified at all. So it's exploring the opportunities. Okay, and then we based on the understanding of the customers, empathy study, we define the opportunity. This is what we must do. Okay, so that is a phase which is different than engineering design process, and then idea. So explore different possible solutions, and then prototype, ideate, prototype, and test. This keep on going iteration process. When I say prototype, it's not a prototype to make prove the solution. It is to learn, build to learn, because feedback comes from the customer directly. Okay, this is a difference between engineering and design approach. Okay. So innovation is a conversion of new or existing knowledge into new or altered products, processes, and services. So it is not only a product. It's actually there are 10 types of innovations are classified today, and I just give you some introduction to that afterwards. And services for the purpose of creating new value for customers and creating financial gains for the innovator. So this is the another interesting definition. Okay. So customer-centric culture enhances innovation, success. Most of our companies like HMT, say where is the company? HMT, Ambassador company, car, Fiat car, Bajaj scooter. Where are they have gone? Because they were never customer-centric. They were organization-centric actually. So be customer-centric and not organization-centric. So when you look for a job, join a company which is customer-centric, they will grow. If it's a business-centric, internally, focused, they will be closed down. Okay. So basically, what is innovation? Idea, I mean, basically empathize. What is the problem? Define the challenge and explore the human context. Remember, explore the human context. In which engineering subjects is this taught? Anyway, just for a matter of concern for you. And then, define what is important, why is it important? Research and observe, understand, and create a point of view. So this is the definition. And then ideate, how do we really solve it? Brainstorm ideas, good and bad. Don't stop at the obvious solutions, find better solutions. And then prototype, how do we create it? start creating experiments, for, fail often, fail cheap, and then test, does it work, implement the product, and show, so this is an iteration process which actually shows graphically. Okay. So basically, also the another representation of design thinking process. Basically, if you see, it's a very messy process. It's not a linear. Like all engineering process are linear, right? You can put a flow chart. This is first step, this second step, this is the third step. Unfortunately, in innovation, you cannot do that. Okay, it has to go back. This is a really difficulty where people don't understand how innovation is messy. Okay, so basically, it's a research, means exploration. What problem should I solve, and what knowledges are available for me, and exploring the things and validating our assumptions. That uncertainties, patterns, and insights. So these are the what we look for actually. Why the so thing is not happening the way it should happen, and is there a patterns repeated across the the more segments, and what are the real insight is a human truth which is not visible today. We will have to extract from it. So this is the the word used, insights, very predominantly. From that insight, we define a problem, and then we do concept and prototype. So this goes on this thing, and then the concept and prototype is a clarity process. It's not a design validation process like engineering. It's a quality, validation of the learning, and then see whether the concept will work or not. So clarity and focus of the solutions, and then we design the product as a conventional design product. Okay, this is the design thinking process. So it's a new innovative thinking for new problems of the century. Okay, so cultivating deep empathy with the people you are designing for. So again, a new language. Probably you don't understand this. You don't hear at all in your engineering, which you have to learn if you want to process, proceed on in design or innovation. Okay, there is generating ideas, then building a bunch of prototypes, and then sharing what you have made with the people you are designing for. So always we go back to the society. We don't elaborate, do a simulation and say it works or does not work. Unlike engineering, remember there's a lot of difference between engineering design and the design that we talk here. Okay, and eventually putting your innovative new solution out in the world, and this is the innovation process. Design thinking believes, and has been proven, that the people who face problems are the ones who hold the key to their problem's answer. So here we are expecting that the customer is a better judge than me as a designer. So he is able to tell me why he likes or he does not like. So this is what the whole the difference of design is all about. Okay. Design thinking is a human-centered problem-solving tool which emphasizes on empathy, collaboration, and co-creation. That means we are involving the customers as part of the design team actually. Okay, and collaboration with different domain knowledges like psychology, social sciences, technology, and business people, finance people, etc. And then stakeholder feedback. So all the people have the right to question and answer. Critical view of the approach that can be done. So we have a lot of learning process taking place to unlock creativity and innovation, which devices feasible and viable big idea or a solution. So this is the approach. Okay, so I'm just cautioning you because this is my experience of talking to engineering colleges for the last 30 years. All these words are different than the engineering language you are familiar with. Especially for the budding engineers, I want you to understand, the engineering language is totally different. The design language is totally different, and you never, hear this design language in your studies. You need to understand the design language, which is very different from engineering language, and they are not taught to you. Okay, so because when I say empathize, how do you do that? The key to the process is empathizing with the users to uncover unmet needs. Okay, understanding their beliefs, values, beliefs. We talk about belief. Why the society believes that this is good? We have to understand that values, motivations, behaviors, pains, gains, and challenges. So this is what we search in our first process of exploration. All these are new language for you, which I think, to the best of my knowledge, is not taught in any of the engineering subjects. Okay, so this is what actually the difference is. All these words are different than the engineering language you are familiar with. Okay, you need to understand the design language is very different from engineering language. Okay, I'm repeating. I tell you, Okay, so let me give why I'm telling you. Design looks for many possible. The traditional analytical engineering approach is good at solving problems. There is one correct answer. Remember, whatever you learn is only purely engineering design and is not, design of the product or the system to the society. Whereas design looks for many possible solutions. Do you know how to create it? Ask your professors to teach you. Building prototypes to think, learn, and iterate, and arrive at the best possible solution based on the feedback of the user. So this is the classic difference between the engineering approach and then this has been proven by experiments, gentlemen, in American university, including MIT. I think there is a, Professor Arnold. You can go back to the experiments done in the 60s, in MIT. Okay. So basically, design thinking is a way to find the best solution to a problem through design and human-centered means. It does not dispel, anybody can master the design thinking process, but still you need qualified designers. Okay. So you can actually, the process can be learned, but it's not dispensing with the design process. Okay. It is not a substitute for professional design or the art and craft of designing, but rather than a methodology for innovation and effort. So design thinking is the best process to innovate. Okay, because any problem can be taken and solved. So basically, objective is to match the people's needs and find the solutions which are technologically feasible and make it a business, as a business strategy viable. So these are the three different domains. So that's why there are three sets of knowledges are required to be successfully innovate. So basically, this is a classic, you will see the Venn diagrams if you Google, out, because the time is short, I'm going to just say, so who, know for whom you are building, what does he want, and then how do we provide the solutions. So these are the examples, okay. So I'll just briefly give another, maybe, time is there, madam? I can take?
Yes, sir. Few more
Okay.
minutes, and then we'll go for Q&A.
Yeah, okay. So basically, it's a graphical representation of process. As I told you, engineering process all are linear. We never show you that data. It's a curvilinear, it's all going back and, hazy processes. So there is a very dominant process we call as problem space, major area, which we want to be very sure that we identify the real problem to be solved. And then there is a solution space. So why we are classifying this? Because the different set of thinking is required, which I will talk in the afternoon. Okay. So discovering new customer insights. Actually, opportunity for innovation. This is the hallmark where you differentiate between a conventional design. Okay. So the problem space is actually defining the right problem to be addressed. So this is very, the social science, approaches that we adopt. Okay. And then finding the right solution. And this is the, the objective of design, the two major phases. Okay. And this is a very, it's known as double diamond process. This is actually known as double diamond process published by Design Council UK. For those who are interested, you can note down. So basically, defining the right problem or opportunity. What is the problem? Why is the problem? And explore the challenges that we have. So basically, research insight into the problem, user-centric, empathetic, and this is the approach. All of them are qualitative and not quantitative. Like I said, there's a questionnaire and ask for tick mark. So look for meaning. Again, the word which is very, very, different, not measurable by quantitative terms. Okay. So discovering the meaning that I want to provide to the customer. Okay. And then once we do that, we have a synthesize, identify the area to focus on. Oh, basically, this is the defined space. So we call as divergent thinking. And then, I need a focused thinking like called convergence thinking. All of you have to get familiar with these kind of approaches. You want to succeed, in your future life. Discover empathy, that is learn about the audience for whom you are designing by observation and interview. So this is the passive observation and conversation. The word, interview is not right. Actually, it should be conversation. And then, we go into the place where, the people are behaving. Who is my user? What matters to this person? This is the answer that we are trying to find out. So basically, user and designer, the empathy is the link that which makes me to understand him. All right. So then the define phase, create a point of view that is based on the user needs and insights. Then what are their needs? Prioritized needs. Okay, there may be many needs. So we will prioritize in the sense of most crucial needs. Okay, based on the gains and pains, etc. of the current system. And then once we define that, we go into the solution area, problem definition to potential solution area. So divergent thinking, convergent thinking. Now again, you see this. I have to have creative thinking here. Design brief for a problem definition. So to potentially develop the potential solutions, and then we goes into the developing area, explore possibilities. So again, a word possibility, has got a very deeper meaning. Probably in the afternoon, we'll try to explain to you. What is the meaning of possibility? That's not existing actually. And that's why innovation happens. Possibilities means it's not existing now. Okay. So find potential solutions through ideation process. So how many ideation techniques do you know? Brainstorming, concepting. There are so many concept generation techniques are there, which are again not covered in engineering. Divergent thinking, finding the right solution, and then finding a specific solution that works, validate and implement the prototype. So, refine and build. So these were, learn, refine, feedback, build, and deliver the feasible point of design. So this is the output of this. Okay. So create mode, develop a concept or set of concepts that can be shared with the target market for feedback, and that through iteration can be improved upon. Okay. This feedback will be used to iterate and improve upon the concepts. So customer directly is involved in my design process to feedback and share his learning or the life's learning. So build to think and test to learn. Remember, this is a very different. This build to think and test to learn. The prototype here is not to validate design, okay? Because we have not yet finalized the design. Evaluation mode, iterative generation of artifacts intended to answer questions that get you closer to your final solution. Get feedback on concept prototypes and ideas and assumptions embedded within them. And so this is the double diamond process, which I think is very useful for all of you to master it. Okay. So do you think that there is any problem, any opportunity for improvement? Because there's no answer. Anyway, you can see what can be the one improvement that I want to do in this suitcase, briefcase or suitcase. Okay, somebody can chat, and then the moderator can show me afterwards. So I will just take you to the solution, because this is the most important aspect, identifying the real challenge. Okay. Now wherever you go back to your life experiences. Okay, observe people, like railway station. How many, if you go to the Bengaluru Central City railway station, you are actually entering in the first platform, then you want to go to the 8th platform or 7th platform. So how many stairs can you imagine, can you climb? Maybe some of them have the escalator or the lifts, but all stations do not have, right? So you want to carry this. I mean, you can see the trouble that you have, right? You will have to carry. Can this be an opportunity now? Okay, on a flat ground, the wheel moves very nice. But what about the staircases? Can this be an opportunity, innovation? I'm just giving you, this is the most difficult task, gentlemen. I'm telling you, to innovate. The idea getting is easy, but identifying the real opportunity is the toughest part of innovation. Okay, so this is again a concept where you can drag everywhere, or even on the staircases also. One of the concepts, and this is a already implemented solution. You can just drag anywhere. Okay, beautiful. No, in addition to these images, there is actually a belt that it does actually, so you don't have to carry physically. Okay, so this is how innovation is actually happened. Yeah, I think I'll skip this because I do not know. I'm probably running out of time. All right. Yeah, I think so. I mean, is there any opportunity? When this is one of the things. We capture the photographs and visualize. Can any improvement in a umbrella can be made? If you really observe here, now you can see here, right? I mean, this is a normal way the umbrellas are held. You can now see here. This much is waste, am I right? Here. But here is likely to this thing. So you can see here now. So the umbrella does not protect her leg, am I right? You'll get wet anyway. So now all of them, you either hold on the right leg, hand, or left leg, but it is circular. Could it be circular? Can this be not non-circular? In order to see that you're protected, and that is actually what actually has done. It's a beautiful umbrella, international reputation. I think it's probably done in Norway, neither Netherlands or Sweden. Actually, it can withstand 40 kilometers per hour wind speed, and it is not circular. Beautiful, concept. So it's actually foldable, and so it is actually of different shape. Now you can see, innovations. I'm just showing you existing so that you all get motivated. All right. So I mean, I will just skip you. These are available now in Amazon if you want to see. Now, can you? Is it the way the umbrellas open? Is it different umbrella altogether? I mean, how? So this is again an interesting this thing. I want you to see the video. Kazbrella, Kazbrella. Note down, gentlemen, because of the time. See, look at this, how it is opening. Why somebody has done this? It's about 800 rupees, gentlemen. I have 2 or 3 in my, because I keep it in every car. And there's a major impact, why I'm keeping in the car. Okay, so, you keep the butter and, it is in the fridge, am I right? After consuming for the day. Tomorrow morning, early morning, you're in a very hurry as a parent and you want to send the butter toast, you to a child. Now, it is solid, right? In the fridge you are kept because preservation. Can this be a problem? Okay, so, I mean, gentlemen, I'm showing you. So this is one of this thing. Maybe there's a heating element. It will get heated. So if you see here, applying the butter on bread, by spray. I mean, you just, you keep it here in that, put in the fridge, then take it out, and then you can spray the butter. Will you not like it? Even maybe, expensive, but then, early morning tension is over. Am I right? This is what a value addition is all about. Okay. Again, I do not know whether any of you can observe what is the difficulty. This is like, you go to ENT specialist and see, he wants to see the inflammation in the throat, right? So, he has to hold one hand, the torch, because there has to be light, and another hand, the pick, that tongue, this thing, I mean, the strip of wood. Then, he has to say, move forward, backward, the patient. Now, is that an opportunity? Okay. This is what he uses first, and then look at this. Can you now imagine what is happening? There's actually a different device altogether. So, it's an international product patented. There's a, throwaway stick where there is a light source here. I mean, the doctor can just put in here and, automatically. So, his only one hand is used. The other hand is free for him to adjust the shape, face of the child or the patient. And so, can anybody guess what could be the another opportunity here? Again, chat, put in the chat. Now, you have a throat infection now. I observe as a doctor by the inflammations, which are probably change of color or, the growth or the, the wounds, etc., etc. Now, I give you the medicines. After 3 days, you come, I'll say you come back after 3 days. Now, how as a doctor, how do I remember what was the depth of or the intensity of the, the disease? Within 3 days, how much has it been covered? Is that available to me as a doctor, gentlemen? When I go to an X-ray, X-ray is available. Like, so is the actually biggest opportunity that can be done today, and it will be valued by the entire medical society in the world. If I can capture the image of that image and then preserve it, then I can capture the next image after 3 days. I mean, this is what innovation is all about. How? Critically observing the current world. Okay. So I think, I'll just, I mean, if continue, I do not know whether you have seen this. These are all very interesting things happen in our country. That blind turns, the very, very dangerous turns, especially in Kashmir or Charmadi Gati in our Karnataka. So many, there, I can't see what is the vehicle coming. I mean, you can see here now, it's very difficult to see what is coming. And, there could be a lot of accidents, a lot of deaths. So very, very interesting this is. What is the current solution? The caution board or there's a mirror there. Okay. So which probably most of the drivers will react. And there is a, this company HP has launched, and this is the company who have designed it across in our country. I think especially, implemented now in Kashmir, and because, a lot of military movements are taking place. And so, there is a device actually starts scanning. I mean, there's, in the U-turn, there's a device here, there's a device here. It starts actually scanning. This device will start scanning the vehicle coming, and when it comes within the range, it starts honking. Okay, so it's a beautiful system. The vehicle has not entered the scanning zone. Moment it enters the scanning zone, I mean, so it has captured now the images. So it actually starts horning. So warning this driver as well as this driver that, there's a vehicle coming. So you better take to the left. Keep, that's it. So it's a beautiful system. Innovation is built. So this is actually, there's a book called Time Plus of Innovation. I think I will stop here. Yeah, anyway. I hope, I want to give something classic. The best innovation which people ever recognized in the world. I mean, the highest level of innovation is a Jaipur food. I mean, because it's so cheap, you probably ignore. but the amount of impact this innovation has done is unmeasurable. Okay. So, this again, I was diabetic patients. If you have elderly people who are diabetic, normally there will be a wound in the food takes place first, and then it grows beyond, and they need to keep inspecting their food. It's very difficult. I can't see my own foot. Am I right? I have to show my foot to somebody. It's a very humiliating experience, right? So can we, they also have a weight measurement. So here, on the weight measurement device, you just put a plain, mirror. You can watch yourself, right? You can see your own foot. Am I right? A beautiful innovation. Okay. I'm just giving you very broad spectrum of examples so that you can don't confine to your knowledge area. This again a shoe which will wrap ourselves, like elderly people, like they've got arthritis, they can't bend, and so the shoe racks itself, you just put your foot down and it actually captures. So it's good for children as well as for elderly people. This is a very interesting thing. Yeah, I think with this I will probably skip. I don't want to show. Yeah, I think that is one of the best innovation that India has done is the cow dung. They created they made these logs using the cow dung, because abundant cow dung is available in our countries, much more beyond the need of the fertilizers. Okay, and so power generation is one of the one. So they have made North India, most of the states have made that you cannot use firewood now for cremation, and you have to use compulsorily this fire log that is produced from the cow. They say a beautiful environment friendly solution, and also culturally this fits into our culture. Like cow dung used for cremation is considered as holy. Okay, so this is a very interesting innovation. Yeah. So always innovation, you will succeed when we win only when your customer makes profit. So align with your customers. When win, they win, and win only when they win. Okay. So everything in the world starts small and then becomes bigger, except the bad things. They start big and then they get smaller. So start small. We are here today where yesterday's thoughts have brought us, and shall be tomorrow where today's thoughts carry us, which is what is the responsibility you're carrying on your head. When you carry yesterday's thinking into today, you program tomorrow to be like yesterday. Please recognize this, gentlemen. The knowledge that is shared in most of the Indian colleges are 10 years old or 20 years old. And you go with that knowledge and you want to design that tomorrow. And that's the challenge you will have. Innovation means to create a successful enterprise, improve the lives of the customers. Remember that, improve the lives of the customers, make the world a better place. We chose to do these things not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Intentionally, John F. Kennedy's statement, he says, and that's why, it's one of the top 10 innovative countries in the world. Yeah. Yes, I have finished. Now I do hope, I might have rushed through because I have large content. Always, I have find this difficulty in doing this. So now I'm open for questions, answers.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the very broad talk that you gave with so many examples. I'm sure it would have inspired the students. So the Q&A session is open now. You can put your questions in the Q&A tab. So just to again motivate you, we've been giving chocolate to the best question of each session. So I would just like to share the screen, and so I hope you can see the screen. This is Aditya brother who got the best question of the day reward for yesterday's session. So it's again open for today also. And I see two questions. So you can see it in the question and answer tab also. So if you can just answer them.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
What is the role of a creative mindset in meeting the customer's need? As Tata had a vision to let every Indian to have pride to have a four-wheeler car. Yeah, see, this is itself is the wrong thing. Actually, the definition of the need in terms of a physical parameter is not innovation. I told you we start as designers, we start with benefits. Okay, emotional. That too, and if I go to a higher level, I talk to emotional benefits. Unfortunately, car, the Tata's original definition was very broad-minded, but the engineers had defined into a car. They did not have started that. It is not, I want to four-wheeler. What really you want to do? You want to travel, commute safely, am I right? Why did not Tata think of a Uber or a Airbnb or any of those kind of things? Because definition was wrong, fixed in a cheap car. And that's why they failed. Actually. Okay. If the mindset is totally different. And Tata, actually, if you really see Tata has, expressed, I did not show you that, he failed actually to change Tata Empire because, it was his, organization which was taking decision based on the sales, the seller's market philosophy. Because Tata is a very old company, right? Seller's market means I can create anything and sell. I mean, this is what HMT or Ambassador or, Bajaj scooter also, that they never created, they never changed anything, Bajaj scooter, right? Catman. I had a Bajaj scooter because of which I got even a slip disc, okay, certified by the medical doctors. I cannot file a case against Bajaj, because we don't have that facility in our country. And they never did anything, brought a design which is 70 years old from Italy and then just duplicated for the next 50 years. Okay, so this is what the whole problem is. What is the real benefit, which is not an engineering terms? Okay, innovation is far beyond that. So you can, in design thinking, we deal with that aspect very elaborately. I told you the definition benefit is not even engineering parameters or features. Okay. What is the next? There's only one question. Is there any other question?
The first one, sir, Benadin Benny.
How can I organize myself effectively and creativity and creative for? Oh, gentlemen, you have used the word Benadin, very nice, effectiveness. So can you say what is effectiveness and efficiency difference and which is better? Because the word effectively, I deal with these very simple terms as in my training, and so effectively means it's a very, very loaded word actually. And then creativity and innovation, probably in the afternoon we will have the missing link of innovation is the creativity thinking. So we'll deal with this creativity aspect in the afternoon. Well, you can wait for that. Without creativity, that means an engineer probably may have creativity at in isolation parts, but actually education kills creativity, which I'll prove in the afternoon. Okay, so actually all of us are born creative, but we lost the creativity somewhere on the track, and so this is what the whole problem is. Actually, it's not only in India, across the globe. There's a research done on education in what actually harms does the education do. In the USA they have done. So I'm quoting examples from USA because in India it's very difficult to get such research done. And so creativity is a hallmark. It's like a heartbeat of the innovation process. So unless you are creative, like we do corporate training on design thinking, but I will tell you that I cannot convert your engineer to a creative person in 3 days of corporate training. They don't recognize that. Creativity skills are to be given very, very different, and so that is not given, and then they say we have to innovate. This is the real problem. Okay, I have one more question. Yeah, good. If Nano was sold for a higher price, would the sales would have been good? Unfortunately, no, gentlemen. Indian customers are very, very sharp. It's not only the thing. One is the bad word they use. The cheapest car they use. There is a very bad branding. We call branding. The promotion. So when you say that if you go to a shop and say, sir, I'm giving you the cheapest shirt, will you buy it? I would want to ask you, psychologically, is that a shopman is not insulting you? To me, I mean, I feel that if somebody says this is the lowest price product, you want to take it. I feel that I will be insulted. I mean, this is the first thing they missed in the whole thing. The secondly, unfortunately, when the Tata Nano came, actually, we, in India we had a pre-owned cars, right? Second-hand cars is known as branded as a pre-owned cars. So Tata had a competition. Nano had a competition of 12 other cars, like the Maruti 800. Maybe 1 year old Santro. So accordingly, that day was missed completely. Okay, when the product was launched, I mean started, it's about 7 years they took. It's again another bad thing. You must do the development of a car in the next 2 years, otherwise the need will change. So Nano failed. But when I compare a second 2-year-old Santro for 1 lakh rupees and a brand new Nano of 1 lakh rupees, customers felt that 2 years old Nano is far superior. I mean, sorry, Santro is not far superior than a brand new Nano, and that's why it failed. Okay, so is that the reason? Understanding the psychology of buying car in India is again a very, very different aspect. Okay. So what capabilities do we need in order to be more innovative? So you have to be learn the thinking skills and doing skills. Okay. Master these design skills, like how to make prototypes. I mean, it's elaborate, probably, you can go for a online course on design thinking. It's offered by across the globe now. And when you are doing engineering, maybe, third year engineering, you start, and then, I would encourage you people to do it or join my course. If you have completed your engineering, you can join my course, which I offer through, Institute of Science. In the evening, I offer the course, which is known as Center for Continuing Education, known as proficiency courses. So I offer this innovation and design thinking as a course. Maybe, by the time I do not know. So this probably another couple of years I'll offer. I've been offering courses in ISC since 2005. So you have to beyond engineering, you must get mastered, in this thing. So maybe, future there will be MBA in innovation. Maybe, some of the schools are starting now. How can products from India have a higher market penetration in other countries? So, when you meet, you have to design for other countries. You can't, design a product for India and try to sell abroad. There's a mistake you do, because the culture is different. The value perception is totally different. And you have to exclusively design for USA, or you have to design for, because, socio-cultural issues are much, much more dominating today than technological issues, preferences. Remember that. There's a very pride, belongingness. I belong to India. You must be very proud. So that I must support when I do a product for India. But, when I say, I'm an American. So my expectations of a solution for America is different than a solution for India. So you can't just, do one product and, one for all, the same. That philosophy will not work. And then very interesting. Okay. What are the differences and similarities between design thinking and innovation? No, design thinking is an approach. The result is innovation. Remember that, gentlemen. Innovation is the result of, going through a process of design thinking and offering a solution. Okay. So how to practically use innovation to pivot design thinking to the next level, whatever it is, okay, roll number. So design thinking is one of the approaches. That means, there is basically what happened was, all MBA schools in USA, they found that, there is a market crash, there's economic crisis happened, right? What is the MBA content actually? It's not a science, but based on the practices of great companies, best practices found to be successful of 20 years back, 30 years back, right? And what happened? The difference is 30 years back, the whole world was different. And today the whole world is different, because it is openness, open economy, it challenged. So the philosophies of which are taught by the MBA schools were not valid, because the competition, especially from China and Eastern world, they were never factored in your syllabus, actually. So MBA is the Rotman School of Management. One professor, he recognized, how does designers, they're differently. They are not spending money on, they can handle all the future questions. Future is unpredictable, but they are very comfortable in answering handling the future, unpredictable, unknown. So they brought the designers, skills or abilities or mindsets to a part of the MBA. And that is what the design thinking was popularized. Okay. It is not, it's an approach of designers being made popularized in the whole, company. That's a design thinking. I do hope I have answered the questions. Similarities. Okay. Then innovation is leading to destruction of our many natural resources. How can we solve this? Yeah, because of the, I will agree with you, when the designers fail, the government must introduce, legislation. Unfortunately, right? Even ask me the first IC engine a fellow created, no? Why did he create an IC engine? Can you blame him? Because the rule permitted him. Now, so who takes care of this? How many, if I, whoever is this Shreya, if I say, I will tell you, when you buy a washing machine in your this thing, or when you want to buy a ceiling fan, did you ever ask, I want to give you a ceiling fan which will consume the lowest power, but I will charge you 500 rupees more. Will you buy it? Environment friendliness. I mean, I can do that, but in India, this sense is very poor. Actually, as a commercial business, I can talk another day on this, how much the thing. Unfortunately, no, you watch a washing machine. Does it tell you what is the amount of water that he is showing? And I will say, I will give you another washing machine where I will consume 50% less of the current washing machines, but you have to give me 5,000 rupees more. Will you give? That's a question I will ask when I'm a business, business innovation. So, this friendliness, the environment friendliness, ethical values, and the commercial was many times clash unless it is imposed by legislation. I mean, this is what, the business people don't behave unless you make it legislation. Unfortunately, there's a real part of it, Like how many of us, even make attempt to consume less water in our own house? I mean, I can, call you, like in my, toilets in all my houses, I have reduced the consumption of toilet for every flush by 50% because I have added something, not much, very simple things, I added so that instead of 16 liters, 8 liters are dropped. Remaining, I have done that. But, that is, your own, internal, this thing, beliefs. And, you're sticking to that philosophy. Okay. How to convince others about our innovation? There is a process of, interacting with the customers and tell, first of all, you have to identify, if you identify the real problem, the customer will always be looking for a solution. Remember that. Oh God, I've been looking for such as, idea. It happens if you identify the real problem. There no amount of convincing is required. Like, if you go and talk to the doctors, I mean, as an example, I'm telling you, and, I've shown you the ENT specialist, right? Now, if you have gone to a ENT specialist, he says, oh God, I would love to have it. It may cost you, sir, another 5,000 more. He said, no problem. And this is where, convincing does not come. Actually, it's a very interesting way of observing society and then say, would you like to have, these kind of possibilities? And that we do as an exploration process. All right. Convincing still happens when a larger scale. That is why, we call as branding, how do we communicate the design aspect of it, to make it, that we make a meaning. How do we really do that? So this is where, the advertisement, all those things come into picture. What is the role of government in innovation? I think, if you really see the innovation index, the government of India is really doing a lot of effort to, like startup now. For example, I think Bengaluru is the best, startup hub in the world. And so they are giving a lot of incubation centers. And so the policies are actually making, they are making educational institutions accountable. So all, institutions can have innovation cells in our, just a lot of grants are given by Department of Science and Technology, which I'm sure all your faculty members are aware of it. And so there is a lot of innovation funds. So that encourage, like third year, second year, I think there's a lot of scope, up to 10 crore or something like this available for engineering college to cultivate the culture of innovation in terms of education. And they are giving, like energy saving device if you do concessions in terms of taxes and so many other things, Otherwise, the innovation index would not have come up. If the government of India had not promoted innovation, you would not have come. Like, patent, like, in the small industries, if you actually develop a patent, the patent cost of patent filing is free. It was borne by the government of India. So a lot of such, because I was in the Ministry of Industry, I was working and I was doing this. So there are a lot of policies of the government of India which actually encourages innovation. And that is an agenda, that we have to move up in the value chain. Make in India is actually, the largest innovation facility, policy change that they have made. That when you want to make in India, you have to design in India. I mean, this is a very, very interesting part of it, right? What you design abroad and what you made abroad may not be directly, producible in India. So there has to be an innovation content coming into this Make in India philosophy. Okay. What is the role of government? Yes. What else? Yeah, I think I have answered almost all.
Thank you, sir. So if you could just go through the questions and say which question you would rank the best. Sorry to make you do that, but just to motivate, we thought
I did not really give much attention to that. So
you can just scroll through the questions, sir. It's there in that. All the questions are there. So.
Yeah. Or, can you take a printout and send me a couple of hours you give me? Then I
sure, sir. Yeah. By the afternoon session.
I'll give you in the evening.
Sure, sir. Yeah.
That'll be much better for me rather than hurry up.
Yes, sir.
Because sure. I have to give you another session, right? 3 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
So I would like you to, if you can take a copy of this and then send me.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Which that I will appreciate very much. Okay.
And
I'll be doing injustice.
I am sure everyone is looking forward to your afternoon session. Also in the chat, I could see many one thanking you for the excellent session, and we love the examples that you gave. So we are very excitedly looking forward to your afternoon session.
Yeah, I
And
hope-
thank you, participants, for joining.
Yeah, thank you all for the opportunity. Okay, yeah.
Thank you, sir.